WWE play-by-play announcer for Monday Night Raw, Joe Tessitore, made a very interesting announcement if you were paying attention during the Red Brands broadcast on September 9th, 2024. And that announcement was starting October 7th, Monday Night Raw is headed back to 2 hours. Of course, it was 2 hours from 1993 to 2012. It's been 3 hours ever since July 23rd, 2012, the 1,000th episode of Monday Night Raw. And for 12 years, Raw has been the 3 hour show. SmackDown has, of course, always been the 2 hour show. And there's been a lot of complaining over the years about 3 hour Monday Night Raws. People felt like it was too long. The pacing was not there. It was very boring. It was very stale. It felt dragged out. And now, ironically, as the tables have turned during the past year with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque taking over as head of creative for WWE, people are now actually complaining that Monday Night Raw is going to be too short with 2 hours, and they like the 3 hour format. And a lot of people actually want to see Friday Night SmackDown, which of course moves from Fox to the USA Network tomorrow, actually become a 3 hour show. And I find this very interesting because Raw is starting on Netflix. I cannot wait for it. January 5th, 2024. I think it is going to be one of, if not the most packed Monday Night Raw of all time. John Cena, the final boss, the American Nightmare, the Tribal Chief, just to name a few. I think that is also where we could get Rhodes Reigns free for the Undisputed Championship. Reports have been circulating about Monday Night Raw's plans for Netflix, and the most consistent report you've seen is that WWE is excited, I should say, to not have a time constraint on the show. They can go 2 hours on Netflix if they wish. They can go 3 hours on Netflix if they wish. And it gives them great flexibility, where, of course, on cable, you don't have that. I think the biggest reason for Raw going from 3 to 2 hours, I don't think it is a WWE based decision where it's like the show quality is not good. Let's reduce it back from 3 to 2. I think there's two factors here. Number one, we all know the Raw deal with the USA Network was set to expire after the September 30th episode. USA Network and WWE came to an agreement to air Raw for the additional 3 months when Raw gets set to go to Netflix in January 2025. Which means, therefore, as a part of those 3 months, USA Network is paying WWE a lot less for Raw, as of course they are paying more for SmackDown because that is actually going to be the host of the show. So, because of that, it does not make sense for the amount of money the USA Network is paying Monday Night Raw at that time for it to be a 3 hour show. I don't think that is a coincidence. I also don't think it is a coincidence that it is during the football season. And the fact that WWE, wants to tinker with the show hours tells me this. If you take a look at the Monday Night Raw viewership during football season, and then obviously during non-football season, but specifically during the NFL season. Quarter four, if you will, last year of quarter three, in September, going into quarter four of October, November, December, and then obviously the first few weeks of January, if there is a college football game or an NFL playoff game on the air. Raw's ratings for the first 2 hours actually stay pretty consistent. And then that third hour, it crashes because people either don't tune in or they DVR the rest of Raw and they watch the second half of the Monday Night Football game. And I think WWE sees this as an opportunity to even increase their Raw ratings from last year to this year by knocking down an hour because you're not going to have that many people tuning in and out of the show from hour one to hour two. I think WWE is going to find a way to, be as consistent. Now, I do worry a little bit about some of the stories they've been able to develop on Raw, just because it is a 3 hour show. I think most notably the women's division, all the tag teams going on with Bianca and Jade and Damage Control and Pure Fusion Collective. You have everything going on with Rhea and Liv Morgan. You have the CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud. You have Gunther and Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship. You have Braun Breaker and Jey Uso, for the Intercontinental Championship. That is a lot to pack in 2 hours. And some of it may have to be cut, and it might be from the women's division. Unfortunately, I think Bronson Reed is here to stay. He has sort of developed and grown during the past few months on Raw. I cannot wait to see the Visionary return so they can have that rivalry. Um, so yes, there is an aspect to the show is better now under Triple H than it was under Vince McMahon. Um, 3 hours still sometimes feels like a drag. I think 2.5 is about the right time, and we'll see how Raw does with pacing when it's potentially 2 or 3 hours with no ads, no commercials on Netflix. So the new era of WWE is officially here. I think there are some good, I think there is some bad of Raw moving to 2 hours for the rest of the year. I find it funny. There's all these comments on social media of wrestling fans saying, "What are we going to do now at 10 o'clock?" My answer is just watch the second half of the Monday Night Football game uninterrupted. This will be the first time as well that on a Monday night at 10 p.m. there is no wrestling scheduled for the first time since Raw debuted in January of 1993. So, interesting developments. Again, I think there's some good, there's some bad. I think overall it will be good. I think it will wow WWE specifically with the more title stories they have on Raw compared to SmackDown to sort of narrow things down and get the quarter out of there. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.